Greetings everyone, this is Long Nu. Welcome to Spiritual Science. Today's talk is about life after death. So, life after death is not very difficult to understand. We have got different grades of life. Just like the child is crying, that is also life. Then the child body vanquished, then gets another body, boy's body. Then this body also vanquishes another body, youthful body. This body also vanquishes. And then an old man's body. This will also vanquish. So the logic is as the other bodies vanquish, and I get a next body. Similarly, when this old body will be vanquished, I'll get another body. So here it is stated by the supreme authority, God, that as these bodies are changing in this duration of life, it is changing. The old body, the child's body, boy's body, they are no longer existing, but I am existing. I know that I had a small body like this. Then I had a youthful body, I can remember. Therefore, I am eternal. The bodies are temporary. So this is evolution. This evolution theory. It is not theory, it is fact stated in the Vedic literature, Padma Purana. How we have passed through so many bodies, and ultimately we have got this civilized human form of body. We have to pass through 900,000 forms of aquatic bodies within the water. Then gradually we come to the form of trees and plants. There are 2 million varieties. Then we get the bodies of insects. There are 900,000 forms of body. Then we enter into the species of birds, 1 million forms of body. Then after bird's body, there are 3 million different types, varieties of beast's body. Then after this period, we become human body, but there are 400,000 species of human bodies. And thus we get this nice human form of body with good brain and good consciousness. So it should be utilized properly. By the laws of nature, this is the law of nature. Gradually we develop different types of body and different types of consciousness. So when we come finally to God consciousness or Krishna consciousness, that is the perfection of life. So we are living in this planet, but in other planets also there are different forms of life. So there is one planet, there are many millions of planets. Specifically, there is one planet within this universe that is called Siddhaloka. There is other planets also, heavenly planets, Brahmaloka planets. And in different planets there are different species of life, different standards of comforts. But in the higher planetary system, the standard of comfort is more and more, 1,000 times more, 1,000 times more. In this way, just like in this planet, we've got different standard of life. In your Western countries, your standard of life is, at least, it is to be understood, more comfortable than other standard of life. In this way, if you promote yourself to the topmost planetary system, which is called Brahmaloka, then you get your duration of life many millions of years. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that in the Brahmaloka planet, the residents, they have got there one day. One day means daytime, not nighttime. 12 hours, say. That is equal to, their 12 hours is equal to our millions of years. Sahasra Yuga. Sahasra Yuga means 4,300 thousands of years multiplied by 1,000. That is called Sahasra Yuga. Such is the duration of time, and it is equal to 12 hours in the Brahmaloka planet. So, even if you go to the Brahmaloka planet, so our natural tendency is to go to other better planets. Therefore, people are trying to go to the moon planet. Similarly, you can go to the sun planet, you can go to the Brahmaloka planet, Siddhaloka planet, heavenly planet. There are so many, but the information is, even if you reach the topmost planet of this universe, still there are the four principles of material life, namely birth, death, old age, and disease are there. So we can go to the topmost planet. There is a process how to go. If you keep yourself in Sattva Guna or in the mode of goodness, you are promoted to the higher planetary system, even to the topmost planetary system. That is called Urdhvam Gachanti Sattvasta. And if you keep yourself in the modes of passion, you shall remain within the middle planetary system. This is middle planetary system, this earthly planet. It is called Burloka. Then above this, there is Bhuvarloka. Then above that, Svargaloka. That is heavenly planet. The heavenly planets begin from the moon planet. And those who are in the modes of darkness, they go down, down, down. The animal life is also amongst the down modes of life. So this human form of life is a chance to make our choice where we shall go next, in the higher or in the lower, or we shall remain here. So how to go to the higher planetary system? That is also mentioned. Yanti Deva Vrata Devan. So if we like that, we can go to the higher planetary system, heavenly planetary system, just like we are trying to go to the moon planet, but we have not been successful. In this way, we cannot go there. Each planet, each and every planet has got different atmosphere. So unless your body is completely competent to live in such planet, you cannot go there. Just like the scientists say that in the moon planet the temperature is 200 degrees below zero. Similarly, in the sun planet the temperature is very, very high, 100,000 times degrees above the normal. So in this way, every planet has got different atmosphere, different temperature, different standard of life, different duration of life. So one has to become competent to transfer himself in a particular type of planet. So we, as spirit soul, Dehi, the possessor of this body, Dehi means one who possesses this body or the occupier of the body. The spirit soul, that is eternal, changing body only, but eternal. Therefore, we should not be interested to these different types of temporary body. That is not very good intelligence. So we have to prepare ourselves if we want. There are the full description of each and every planet, and we can prepare ourselves according to our desire which planet we wish to go. But Krishna says, Mad Yajino Pi Yantimam. Persons who are engaged in my occupational duties, they will come to me. So go to God or Krishna means you will have to acquire your original spiritual body. The spiritual body is already there, but we are now covered by this material body. So how we are eternal, that is described in the Bhagavad Gita. The hint is given, the something which is spread all over the body, that is eternal. And what is that something? That something is our consciousness. Here it is stated, in this body there is something, that is consciousness, that is eternal. Just like if you or I pinch my body, I feel pain because the consciousness is there. But when the consciousness will not be there, if I cut my hand or cut your hand, you will not protest. Even scientists have proved this consciousness is there in the trees also. If you cut the trees, there is sensation, feelings of pain, and that is recorded in the machine. So here it is hinted that this consciousness is spread all over the body. That is eternal. The body is not eternal. As soon as the consciousness is gone, the body is dead. Therefore, we should take care of the thing which is consciousness. That is the soul. On account of presence of the soul, there is consciousness. So, Krishna further says in this connection, this body, Deha means body, Antavat is it is perishable. Nityasya yukta sharirana. But the thing which is covered by this material body, that is eternal. So that consciousness of the rays of the soul is described here. Na jayate mriyate va karachit. This consciousness or the soul is never born, neither it is ever dead. Nayam bhutva bhavitan vanabuya. The soul and the consciousness has no past, present, or future. It is eternal. Ajo, ajaha, means who does not take birth. Ajo nitya, eternal. Shashvataha, ever existing. Ayam purana, the oldest. Na hayante hayan mane sharire. When the body is annihilated, the soul and consciousness is not annihilated. Just like when we sleep, our consciousness works in a different body, subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego. That we have got experience every night. We sleep on our bed, but my consciousness goes to another country or another place and work in a different way. Again, when at the end of the dream, we come back to this body, gross body. So death means when the consciousness does not come back again to this gross body and enters another gross body. This period is called death. So the subtle body, mind is there. I know you have got mind, you know I have got my mind, but I cannot see your mind, you cannot see my mind. So there is intelligence also. I know you have got intelligence, you know I have got intelligence, but you cannot see my intelligence unless it is acted. I cannot see your intelligence unless it is acted. So the soul is covered by two kinds of dresses, just like we are covered by the shirt and the coat. Similarly, the coverings of the shirt are mind, intelligence, and ego. This is one covering. And upon this there is a gross covering, earth, water, air, fire, like that. In this way we have got two covers. So our business is, because we are eternal, we should not remain in these temporary coverings. That temporary covering, so long as we are bound up or encaged in this covering, that is called conditional life, conditioned life. So we are trying to become free from this conditioned life, just like people are trying to go to the moon planet. The desire is there, but because the life is conditioned, he cannot go. Just like I am a foreigner, I have come to your country. I am conditioned by your immigration law. There are so many conditions. One of the conditions is that I cannot live here forever unless it is sanctioned by the government. So we are conditioned now in this form of life, covered by the material elements. We are conditioned by this material nature. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. We are conditioned in every step by the laws of material nature. Still, foolishly, we are thinking we are free. This is foolishness. We are so much controlled by the material nature, exactly like a small child is pulled by the ear by its mother. Come here. He comes here. Go there, just like a dog. A dog may feel very freedom jumping, but as soon as the master says, come here, he comes and immediately chained. This is our position. So that is our position, that we are completely under the clutches of material nature, and according to the modes of material nature, we are acting and changing our body in different species of life. So our real business in this human form of life is to try to accept the process by which we can get free from this conditioned life. The process is that we have to give up all our false consciousness. We are under false consciousness. I am thinking I am Indian, you are thinking you are German, and the dog is thinking I am dog, and cat is thinking I am cat. So this bodily consciousness, bodily concept of life, will keep us conditioned within the material nature. Therefore, our first business is how to get free from all these designations. Just like I am putting on this saffron cloth, but I am not saffron cloth. You are putting red cloth or black coat. You are not black coat. Within the coat, you are the person. Similarly, within the dress, I am the person. So at the present moment, we are on the dress consciousness. I am German dress, I am Englishman dress, I am Indian dress, I am male dress, I am female dress. So this is called conditioned life. So in this conditioned life, we are accepting one type of body and we are dying. Dying means giving up and being transmigrated, transferred to another body by the laws of material nature. It is not under my control. You cannot say that, after giving up this German body, I shall accept again another German body. That is not in your hands, sir. It is under the laws of nature. You cannot propose, you cannot force material nature. After this body, I can get another body. That is stated here. Tata Dehantara property. Another form of body. That form of body may be any one of the 8,400,000 forms of bodies. Therefore, if we are actually intelligent, we should try for being awakened or placed in our original body, the spiritual body. That will stop this constant change of body. So the simple process is, as we are preaching God consciousness, that if you try to understand only what is God, Krishna or Christ, the same thing, then you get your original spiritual body. This is God consciousness, can be awakened. This God consciousness can be awakened simply by chanting the holy names of God. So keep yourself aloof from 4 kinds of sinful life and keep always in touch with God. Then you will go back home, back to Godhead. This advantage is possible in this human form of life. Otherwise, we are missing the chance. We may be again put in the cycle of 8,400,000 forms of body. The process is very simple and easy, because you can remain in your occupation, in whatever position you are. Simply you chant the holy name of God. So the conclusion is, we should not put ourselves in the cycle of birth and death continually in 8,400,000 species of life. To stop it and go back to home, back to Godhead, and regain your original spiritual life. Okay, so now there's going to be some questions and answers that I'll go through here. So I will say guest when there's a question, and I will say teacher when it's being answered, and student as well. Okay, so guest. Does chanting the name of God mean saying the same name of God over and over out loud? Can we do this while we are working or all the time during our daily work? Student explaining the question. If chanting means out loud, how can you do it all day long while you are working and in so many different situations? How can you chant out loud? Teacher, you chant slow. There is no harm, either loud or slow, it doesn't matter, but you chant the holy name of God. And then guest, why do we say to chant but not sing? Teacher, same thing, either you sing or chant, the same thing. Guest, what is the meaning of this chanting? If you chant all day long, do you reach a certain consciousness? Teacher, yes, by chanting the holy name of God, you associate with God. God is absolute. He is not different from his name. So when you chant God's name, means you immediately come in touch with God, and by chanting more and more, your association becomes more and more intimate. Then everything is disclosed to you. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. If you keep in touch with God with faith and love, then God is within you, yourself. He will give you intelligence how you can go back home, back to Godhead. There are many different processes or yoga systems to be in touch with God. But for the people in this age, this is the easiest method to be in touch with God, simply by chanting his holy name. Guest. By chanting, it might be possible to get this result to reach a higher consciousness, but it can happen that on account of chanting, I forget my neighbor and just drop the things around. Teacher: well, by chanting loudly, you will also help your neighbor, who will hear you, and when he comes to complain, "Why are you disturbing?" then your mission is successful. That means he is heard. So that you hear and let your neighbors hear also, both of them benefited, and that is the greatest benefit you can render to your neighbor. Guest: actually, there is no difference between, for example, chanting the word tree, tree, tree again, or chanting the name of God. It depends on the meaning which we put into the word, and if you chant a particular word, the name of God, and you have a particular meaning, like for you it's a holy word, then it might be something like auto-suggestion to you. Teacher: I have already explained that God and his name, the one absolute. In the material world, your name and you, person, they are two different things. That is difference between God and you. So therefore, by chanting God's name, you actually contact with God. But in the material world, that is not possible. Suppose I am thirsty, I want water. If I chant water, water, it will not act. But in the case of chanting the holy name of God, it is as good as to associate with God. Try to understand. This is the absolute and related relationship. It is stated in the Vedic literature that the name of God and God is equally Purna, perfect, Shuddha, purified, Purna Shuddha, Nitya, eternal, and Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta, and liberated from material contamination. So it is not the question of argument. You can try, there is no loss on your part. Chant the holy name of God and see the result yourself. There is no difference between Krishna and Christo. In India, also sometimes Krishna is announced as Krista, or you announce as Christo. It does not make difference because God will take your mind, not your pronunciation. If you mean to pronounce God's name, even if it is not, I mean to say formally or perfectly pronounced, still God will understand that you are trying to chant his name. That is your perfection. So God is one, there is no two gods. So either you call him Christo or Krishna. If he understands that you are hankering after him, he will give the resultant action. And this is the easiest process in this age for God realization. And I'll stop there. So there's infinite names, holy names of God, not limited to just the two examples listed here, but many different names. Rama, Lord Buddha, Lord Vishnu, Lord Govinda, so many different names. Allah. Yes, you could say whatever is your religion, whatever is the name for your God, if you just chant that name, then you get the spiritual benefit, because God is non-different from his names. That is the purifying atmosphere. When you connect with the holy name of God in this age of Kali Yuga, it actually transcends the entire atmosphere into spiritual atmosphere. So even despite we're living in this material world, we can still be living in spiritual atmosphere by contacting God through his holy names. And that is the recommended process in this age as the greatest of all yagnas or sacrifices to render service unto the Supreme Lord in this age. Is the easiest recommended process. And therefore this talk about life after death, we are eternal. The symptom of our soul is our consciousness. Consciousness is the symptom of our soul. So we want to take our consciousness and we want to transcend this karmic cycle of repeated birth and death, samsara, in this material world, and go back home, back to Godhead. Okay, thanks for listening, everyone, and you all have a beautiful, blessed day.